And there's another thing which guys like to do. They pose you in a little bit too sexy ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't need those pictures. I wasn't in underwear, but it was still a little bit more than I usually do. Sure. Because when you do time for print or you do the photo shoot for modeling, mm-hmm. you try to get the pictures which will help you to get a job. Mm-hmm. So you shoot how you would like to, present yourself, what work you want to get.
Right.
And I didn't want that work which he tried to show in the pictures. And I'm like, you know what? I can do it better. I can do it much, much better. Mm-hmm. So since that time, I started learning photography. I took workshops online, the courses. I see different photographers. And that was very interesting. Mm-hmm. And because I had already experience in modeling and on the stage, I saw the lighting before, right? I saw how people work on this. It was much easier for me to get into that.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay. So that's what you started getting in photography. How did you improve your craft? Were you working with other photographers? Did you take classes, or what were you doing?
I took some workshops, mostly online, because I believe that if you want to learn something, learn from the best. Mm-hmm. I look for the people who work I like and how they teach. And that time I watched a lot of classes from CreativeLIVE. Then I also assisted some photographers to see how they work. Mm-hmm. And, they taught me a little bit. Then... that time I shoot, and you just practice that. Practice what you learn. Otherwise, you fill your brain with information, but if you don't do anything, it's just useless.
Yeah.
And I was quite good in that. And in a few years, I think, mm-hmm. I got a chance to be on CreativeLIVE in the live audience. Okay. They had a workshop in Las Vegas, so mm-hmm. I was there for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And that was an amazing experience. I met very interesting people. That was interesting to be in that audience, not only watch the courses, but you can talk to the instructors and they can give you some tips which you cannot ask when you watch something online.
Yeah.
And then just work.
Yeah. So do you remember at that time at CreativeLIVE some of the instructors that influenced you the most or helped you the most?
Well, I always like this Bryce work. This is one of the style which I implemented in my work because I shoot fashion style portraits, mm-hmm. and she should photograph glamour style. Mm-hmm. And because I was in the fashion, I was doing modeling, it's easier for me to pose people. So when I tell about my work and I show them these fashion style portraits, I explain that you will look like in a magazine. But you can be the ordinary woman, whatever imperfections you have. And, we women like to hide everything. Oh, there's a little fat, there's, I don't know, I have big eyes or one big, one small or something else. And don't worry about this. Mm-hmm. You will look like in a magazine. I'll take care of everything. So that was a big influence. And also that time there was the course was, I think, woman portraiture, mm-hmm. something like this. And there were 4 instructors, Sue Bryce, Lo Freeman, Lara Jade, and what was the name? Emily Soto. So 4 photographers. Oh, and there was Felix Kans, I think. I forgot his name too. I'm bad with names. I'm good with faces.
Sure.
And I talked to everyone a little bit, and it was very, very, inspiring. Mm-hmm. And from everyone, I got a little tip. And for example, Felix, I asked him, how would you recommend to shoot outside with the just with a light. Oh, just get a stand and use your flash. I'm like, really? So simple? How does that work? Oh, you see, this is like this is like that, and you just put it and here's your lighting. I'm like, wow. And I use this one light for a lot of shoot. I got publication in the magazine with this setup, and I could carry it from China to US, for example. It's so easy. So he helped me to build my style, to build my mini studio. And yeah. And there were other tips.
Yeah. So when you first started off, and I know that you have had your work published in numerous magazines, how did you get your first photograph published in the first magazine?
We've done some test shoots. I love creative projects. So if I have the idea, I want to realize this. And it's good if you have team, so crazy people like you who will be open for new stuff. So I'm like, I want to photograph this. I want to photograph that. Let's do this. Okay, let's do it. And we get together and we do the photo shoot. The same way I got models, I got hairstylists, makeup artists, and I often style my models. And then I just send pictures to the magazines. And when I started, I want to be published in a magazine. That's so cool. And I look for how people submit photos, how they should. And that time I understood what it is to shoot as a series. And every shoot should be a little different. Even if you have the same model, you need to style her different or use different environment. But they still need to look like the one series of shots. And I applied to different magazines till one of them said, yeah, we'll publish it. But I got it's not even the rejection. You apply and they don't reply you.
Sure.
And then you apply again and they don't reply you. Very seldom someone reply. There's a time when I submitted my photos for online magazine. It's Dark Beauty magazine. And there was a guy, he replied me, oh, actually that it's not really good fit for a magazine. And I'm like, let me ask him why. Probably he will not reply. And I asked why. And he wrote me a long, long email. I was like, wow. He put an effort to explain me.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of effort into the photo shoot. But when he wrote this, I'm like, yeah, this is right. Even if it looked like a series, but some of the shoots were a little bit like different style, different retouching, and just like small details. And this feedback helped me to improve my next work. And it's so interesting. This year, in the beginning of this year, I reached out this guy, and he's the editor and the founder of Dark Beauty magazine. And I'm like, remember many years ago, you gave me a long, long feedback. Now I want to interview you.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you, what's your feedback? How people can apply for the magazine and get accepted there. Very interesting.
Oh, that's clever. Nice work. So you've also had a number of exhibitions in both Beijing and the States. How did you get your first exhibition, and what was that process like?
The first one, we collaborated again. I'm a big fan of the collaboration with different people because I believe in a team, which means together each achieves more. And that time we had a group of photographers in Beijing and we wanted to organize the exhibition. So we got in touch with one of the hotels here and suggested them the topic that we will shoot the series of photos about the Beijing around that area. And this is 5-star hotel, but more, Chinese style, more traditional. And we went out for one day, photographed the pictures, and then everyone selected the best photo of the photo shoot. And then we printed them, and because we talked already with the hotel and they let us to have our photos over there. And here we are. We got the exhibition.
Yeah.
We got the opening. All of our friends came. It's this very, very exciting moment. You know, for many of us, that was the first experience of the exhibition. And to see your photo on the big canvas, it just, wow. Looks so good.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Okay, so you've done a few exhibitions since then, and then your next phase has been starting this podcast called the Marketing for Creative Show. What made you want to start a podcast, and why marketing?
Well, one of my degrees in engineering in computer science. I was with websites half of my life. I was doing websites before, and I'm a creative person. So I told you that I had my photography school, online photography school, but that was for Russian-speaking people, and that was good. And I like it when you travel and you have something. That time I got money from that. And I was thinking if I can do something in English, or maybe I can just share my knowledge, but I was so afraid. Oh, it was so scary. I can speak English, but can you imagine to broadcast internationally? And if you screw up when you say something, I was thinking about this for a long time. But after I closed my photography school that time, I thought starting to write in English, and I started a blog, and I've done some experiments. And when I started doing the photography too, I was like super bad in marketing, but I always loved this stuff, business, marketing, and little by little I learned how to do it. And now I love this. It's actually a lot of fun, but you need to find how to your sweet spot. You cannot sell, for example, well, you can, but it's difficult to sell something which you don't like. This is one of my insights there. So I look for what I really love, and I can talk with a passion about it, and people feel it, and it's so much easier. I don't sell stuff. I just share stories, experience, and how I can help you. And then I was thinking, because I like business and marketing, I was thinking, I don't really like writing. But I thought maybe I can start a podcast, because I thought, should I do something with my website, which I started in English, or I should just leave it? And I decided I want to continue that. I love these things. But I need to do something with writing. And I was procrastinating on the podcast because I was worrying about the English and where I find guests, and I didn't know anything about that. But then I thought to myself, you either do it or you quit. And I thought, maybe quit. I'm like, no, I've done so much work already. So I decided to start it. And also, like, my audience, the people who I photograph, one of them, I shoot fashion style portraits. And another audience are professionals, executives, or models, actors, those individuals who also need to market themselves. And they grow there professionally, or they want to grow as a business person there. And I wanted to help my audience. So I was looking for a long time for this sweet spot. So what I'm going to do with this? Because if I write sometimes about business and marketing, like, who's my audience? I wasn't really like creative people. Yes. Should I write about social media? Should I do this? Networking? Like all of these small things, till I decided, okay, this is my audience. These are basically people who I photograph and who I talk to. And also because I traveled a lot, I met so many talented people, and a lot of them struggling with selling their work, with marketing their work, and building a business. Because when you have a job and you have something which